And so he said, "Oh, you go around there." Says the man runs a dry goods store. He got a cafe in the back. He might sell you something. We went in there and walked on back in the cafe through the dry goods store back into the cafe. What the damn hell you niggas coming in here for? And old John Griffin, he was one of them high-tipping fellas. Goddamn, man, let's go. He said, "I'll sell you." I said, "We thought they told us." And I just told him. I said, "The man down here said you sell us something neat." He said, "I will, but you don't come back here. I'll bring it up there to you in the dry goods store. You don't come back in the cafe." And old John Griffin said, that's cool. I said, "Well, you ain't gonna get nothing neat nowhere else." I said, "You still in Georgia. You go." We had to come to Columbus, Georgia. And in Columbus, Georgia, they didn't lie to. We were soldiers also, white and black, but they had different bosses.
With limited access to education and an economic system that required year-round work from sunup to sundown, the prospects for growth, travel, and new experiences were slim for our family. This all changed when some of our family members were shipped off to World War II. It was hazardous duty, but those who survived came back with a new perspective and an unwillingness to accept the status quo.
Finally, we got to going into, got on ships. And when you got on ships, you have on duty all the time. But the most duty was on what they call gun watch. They had big guns, so if airplanes any airplane come around, they could shoot them down, And so the black people, they very seldom was in the siege. You see, you had a siege, and but the black people, most they did was just guard the belt, the belt full of bullets, and they would just guard it as it come down as the man sat up in the seat shooting it.
Okay.
But anyway, sometimes you did all right till bullets started hitting the deck of the ship, steel deck. Now when bullets started hitting that deck, you wanting to see them hit it, wanting to see them guns hit the ship. And in my case, they always did. But you see, that was the only scared time you got most of the time, because they were fun until the bullets started hitting the deck.
You say in your case they always did. What do you mean by that?
I mean, the gunman always shot the plane down before it got close enough to.
Oh, you was on a ship that got attacked?
Huh?
Were you ever on a ship that got attacked?
Oh yeah. If you got on any ship, I got in the Pacific, was attacked.
Really?
Yeah, man. You see them. They tell you. See, the only reason why only thing I didn't like sometimes was, the ship's just a steel deck. And they didn't have the kind of shells they got now. They just had mostly bullets, but they would just hit the deck, and they were glad. They didn't do too much damage to the deck, but if they would hit somebody, they would. See? So if you wasn't on duty, you could go down below deck, and you didn't have to worry too much about it. Didn't have to worry at all because they wasn't sinking the ships.
Oh, so you was getting attacked all the time? You was getting attacked all the time. It's just a matter of how much damage was done.
Yeah, and it wasn't doing that much damage, see, because it was just bullets, and they were just hitting the deck. You could just see them hitting the deck and flying, and if anybody got shot, they would be going now.
Not too scared. I tell you how I felt. If I make it today, I believe I'll make it tomorrow.
All right.
That's just the way it was. You just look to get killed most of the time. Yeah. It made me think about the 23rd Psalm. You walking in the shadows of death.
So when we got to the Philippines, the Japanese had took the Philippines over, but there was a lot of guys there fighting before we got there already. So we got into the Philippines. It was all them Japanese, all the people that left running, the women didn't have nothing on but a rag tied around their top and some kind of rag tied around their waist. They had eat all the cats, they had eat all the dogs, all the rest they could catch. wasn't nothing over there. They don't eat everything. So when we started in there, sometimes we could slip some food to some of them, but at the beginning we couldn't do nothing because they were fighting. Them Japanese was up in them holes. They got underground holes. Everybody in the United States, people go in them undergrounds, and we had to get them out of there. We had something like a long blowtorch. Would throw fire. It would blow fire about 20 feet out in front of you, and we just take it in, go in them mines, and that blowtorch would be going there, and that fire be tearing their ass up. It'd be burning up. You could hear them hollering, but that's the only way we could get them out. So after we got the Philippines straightened out, we figured we were gonna be all right. So then we went to, we left, we came home, and then, we didn't come home, we came back to our barracks in Philippines, and then we had an order to go to Okinawa. And when they say go to Okinawa, we all about to cry. We knew what they were doing in Okinawa. They were bombing and killing. That's just like the lower part of Japan. And when we got over there, we was on one of them big ships where you drop the door down. And when we got there, we couldn't get off the ship. We had to drop the door down. Everybody had to get off in the water. I imagine y'all have seen that. Get off in the water, and then you run to the bank, and everybody just starts shooting, and you run to the bank, and you go to dig your hole, and they call it a foxhole. And when you start digging the foxhole, you get way up. Then you go way up on there, going where the Japanese were. So when we get up there, they was already beset. They started shooting, and we had to start backing up because we had to retreat. And so when we were backing up, like some of the guys right next to you get shot. Some of them get hit in the leg, some of them get killed. And the ones that didn't get killed, you couldn't even stop and help him because they were shooting so bad, we just had to run on back, get on back to the foxhole.
Through it all, sharecropping, Jim Crow, war, our family always maintained a strong religious foundation that carried us through.
Egg the sandwich to school, and you never got hungry. You could come in any time and eat. But the one thing about down there, like when you eat at the table on Saturday and Sunday and everything, you didn't eat till my daddy get ready to eat. When he come in, she fixed to put down on everything, but you didn't come and eat till my daddy get ready to eat. And my daddy built a table. He had a table so big. He had a table that 7 people could sit on one side, 7 could sit on the other side. My father sat on one end and my mother sat on the other end. And before you eat, my father would say the blessing every day, every time before you eat. But at the first, it wasn't that many sitting at the table. I don't guess the table was that big in the beginning, but I know when I went in the army and everything, the table was that big because there was a lot of us then. And my mother would have big sweet potato pie. You have a whole big, look like some kind of lunch for a great big party. And not only my father would say the blessings for you eat, everybody would say a Bible verse. Every one of us say a Bible verse before you eat. And that was just natural. It wasn't no big thing about that.
That you don't love them when you don't get to go see them. That's when you really love to see them. You enjoy them when you do see them. Ay, Claire, Lord, yeah. So I just can't think of not a one that I don't love. Mm-hmm. That's what really brought me through. I mean, to know how to survive and all, because Daddy used to get on his knees every night, and he didn't pray. He didn't whisper no prayer. He prayed out loud every night. He prayed. So I've always been in touch with the good Lord. I've always been in touch with the Lord, and I always had to, do the right. He always believed in you doing the right thing. Do the right thing, and that's been my belief. If you treat people right, people will treat you right. And all, and I always get along And I think that's where it came from, because he'd always prayed, and that just mean a whole lot to me, just to hear him pray every night. He didn't miss a night. He got on his knees and prayed to the whole family.
The whole family prayed with him, or
Well, he prayed, but back then everybody would pray. We would all pray. He taught you how to pray. Even he taught you the I remember when they taught me the prayer of Lord, lay me down to sleep. And then it was on to Our Father, and then he went on to the prayer, the praying for everybody. He just always been that. I do believe, have faith in the good Lord, and that's just been my faith and belief from childhood on up to now.
How we ended up Pleasant Grove is my mama. See, she was a member of Pleasant Grove, and my dad was a member of Liberty Hill. And from the time that I was born, she always wanted to go to Pleasant Grove. But you see, that my daddy's mama was living, and she was the boss at our house. See? And so they went to Liberty Hill all the time. But when my grandmama died, I guess it's about 3 or 4 years later, that my daddy left the house one day with his shoes in his hand. And nobody knew where he was going. And he went to Pleasant Grove and joined the church. And then after he went and joined, we all ended up right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Mama wanted to go to Pleasant Grove all the time, because see, that was her church where she was born. And he was born living here. And his mother was living with him, so his mother kept him in Liberty Hill longer as she lived. But when she died, then, I guess he got tired. He had her talking about going to Pleasant Grove. And one morning he got up, and nobody knew where he was going. And he had his shoes in his hand, because most anywhere he went, he carried his shoes in his hand. He fed on more. But he had his shoes in his hand. And so he went and joined Pleasant Grove, and she was so happy when she found out he was going to Pleasant Grove. See, and so that's where we ended up, all in Pleasant Grove.
Partially because of our strong adherence to faith, our people typically marry for the long haul. Weddings weren't as fancy as they are now. They typically simply involved a quick trip to the courthouse, but they were grounded in faith and commitment, and many have lasted over several decades.
I don't know, one time I decided to get married, and I didn't oppose or didn't, you know what I mean? I just brought her home and walked in the door with her and said, meet your new daughter-in-law, just like that. You don't believe that, do you? I know it's hard to believe. If I didn't know it, I wouldn't believe it. And I remember when I walked in the door and said that, I remember I was talking to my mama, said, meet your new daughter-in-law. And I don't remember one thing was said that whole night, and Aunt Ella said, I didn't know Mama needed a daughter-in-law. And so that's all I can say. It just ends up that way. I didn't know we were getting into anything when I get into it. I still don't know whether I would have if I had if I had known it. But just like I say, and another thing you can say is that they say the good Lord looks out for his ignorant children. And looking back over my life, that's true. Because I'm telling you, I have did getting some awful fixes, with different people, see. Because I didn't mean nobody no harm, nobody meant me no harm, but it just wasn't the kind of life you should have been living, though, see. And so, I don't know, I guess she did more for me than I did for her. Cause I didn't mean for it to go for this for you know what I mean? But I'm not sorry it did, see, because everything seemed to work out. And I think I become the beneficiary.
Okay.
so, so, what can you say? All you can say is thanks. Wow, and you know, she kind of, you know, was more of the kind of person I needed than I was looking for, or whatever. I don't know how to say it, but anyway, you know, and it's by being going to church. See, Melody, you know, she's going to church, and so I was going to church sometime, but I started going to church more just to be at the church. She was at the church, and so it just went on that way.
Okay.
And so, what can I say? Because I just automatically changed. I didn't try to change nothing. You know, I just quit going out because what I was going out for was there. And so that's just the way it went. That's all I know. But I didn't call myself changed. Quit drinking liquor, and I quit raking cars. Of course, I didn't quit immediately raking cars. But sooner or later I did. And so that's just the way it went. But I don't know. See, if I hadn't got married when I did, I don't know. I was tearing up so many cars. I don't know how I'd ever end up. And see, after that, I stopped tearing up cars because I stopped, you know, drinking liquor. Stopped going out like that. Started staying at home and started enjoying staying at home. That's the big thing.
Well, it was just coincidence, and we were, this lady come down from Gaston and worked with me, and she wanted to go down to, there was another club down below us, Ray Barnes played. So we went down there, and so I don't know how we finally, he came over and started talking to me. And he wanted to bring us home, so he brought us home. And we've been dating ever since. We dated for about 10 years before we got married. I think he walked up to me and started talking, and we started talking. And then we just kept on. So 10 years later, we were supposed to be getting married.
Okay. Where did y'all get married?
Down at York.
Okay. Was anybody there?
His sister went with us.
My husband was a Wilson, Thomas Wilson, Miss Maud Wilson's son. And I met him at church. See, guys used to go to church.